Countdown of the 10 worst recent hurricanes. Number 10. Hurricane Sandy, 2012, Category 1 storm. But its massive size and merger with another system made it especially destructive, particularly in New Jersey and New York City. Sandy's storm surge flooded subway systems, hospitals, and streets, leaving over 230 people dead across 8 countries. Damages reached $65 billion. Over 10,000 National Guard members were deployed, and FEMA set up temporary shelters. Rescues included stranded residents trapped on rooftops and submerged streets. Firefighters navigated boats through flooded neighborhoods, rescuing thousands in New York and New Jersey. Number 9. Hurricane Laura, 2020. Laura hit Louisiana as a Category 4 hurricane with 150 miles per hour winds. The storm flattened homes and businesses, caused power outages for 600,000 people, and resulted in 59 deaths. The storm surge reached 17 feet in some areas, displacing thousands. Over 9,000 people were evacuated, and FEMA set up emergency relief operations. Search and rescue teams scoured devastated areas, particularly hard-hit Lake Charles, where buildings were destroyed. Number 8. Hurricane Florence, 2018, Category 1 when it hit the Carolinas, but Florence's 3 feet of rain caused catastrophic flooding. Rivers overflowed, submerging entire towns, and 51 people died. Thousands of homes were damaged, and floodwaters lingered for weeks, cutting off access to critical areas. Swift water rescue teams and National Guard personnel saved over 5,000 people trapped in flooded homes. Helicopter rescues were conducted in places like Wilmington, NC, which was cut off by floodwaters. Number 7. Hurricane Matthew, 2016. Category 5 at its peak, Matthew ravaged the Caribbean and hit the southeastern U.S. It caused 47 deaths in the U.S. and left 600 dead in Haiti. In the U.S., Matthew caused severe flooding and storm surges, especially in the Carolinas and Georgia. FEMA and local authorities launched massive rescues, including the deployment of helicopters and boats to reach isolated communities. In Haiti, international rescue teams provided aid in the wake of widespread destruction. Number 6. Hurricane Irma, 2017, a Category 5. Hurricane Irma packed 185 miles per hour winds and was one of the strongest storms ever recorded in the Atlantic. It devastated Caribbean islands before hitting Florida, causing 134 deaths and $77 billion in damages. 9 million people lost power in Florida. More than 72,000 people were evacuated ahead of the storm. In the aftermath, National Guard troops helped clear debris and conduct urban search and rescue missions across Florida, and FEMA coordinated disaster relief efforts. Number 5. Hurricane Harvey, 2017. Category 4. Harvey stalled over Texas, dropping record rainfall of over 60 inches in some areas, leading to unprecedented flooding. Harvey killed 68 people and caused $125 billion in damages. Major cities like Houston were submerged, and thousands of homes were destroyed by flooding. Over 17,000 rescues were conducted by Coast Guard, National Guard, and volunteer boaters from the Cajun Navy, saving people trapped in flooded homes and on rooftops. Helicopters plucked survivors from rooftops, and over 30,000 people were placed in shelters. Number 4. Hurricane Michael, 2018. Michael hit the Florida Panhandle as a Category 5 storm, with winds reaching 160 miles per hour. It caused 59 deaths and over $25 billion in damages. Towns like Mexico Beach were almost completely leveled. Over 1,000 search and rescue personnel were deployed, and the National Guard went door to door looking for survivors. Drones were also used to help locate stranded people in areas where roads were impassable. Number 3. Hurricane Ida, 2021. Category 4, Ida slammed into Louisiana with 150 miles per hour winds before moving north, causing catastrophic flooding in New York and the Northeast. Ida caused over 100 deaths and left $75 billion in damages. Flash floods in New York City left people trapped in basements and cars. In Louisiana, FEMA dispatched rescue teams, and volunteers with boats evacuated trapped residents. In New York, police and fire departments conducted swift water rescues, saving dozens from flooded subway stations and homes. Number 2. Hurricane Dorian, 2019. A Category 5 hurricane, Dorian stalled over the Bahamas for 48 hours, causing devastation with 185 miles per hour winds. In the U.S., Dorian caused flooding and evacuations along the East Coast, particularly in North Carolina. But the true horror was in the Bahamas, where it left 70+ dead and many more missing. Homes were flattened, and thousands were displaced. Search and rescue teams from the U.S. were sent to the Bahamas, where they found survivors clinging to rooftops and trees. International aid efforts helped provide emergency shelter, food, and water. Number 1. Hurricane Maria, 2017. Maria was a Category 4 hurricane when it struck Puerto Rico, knocking out power to the entire island and causing widespread destruction. Nearly 3,000 people died, both during and after the storm, due to lack of electricity, medical care, and clean water. Maria caused $90 billion in damages, and months after the storm, much of the island was still without power. FEMA and U.S. military conducted relief operations, but response was criticized for being slow. International aid groups worked with local communities to provide essential supplies. Helicopters were used to airlift critical patients from damaged hospitals, and naval ships delivered supplies to remote areas. These hurricanes are some of the most terrifying in recent history, leaving behind a trail of destruction and survival stories that underscore the importance of preparedness and rapid response efforts. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the recovery and rebuilding efforts that followed these life-altering storms. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more cool stories like this. Let us know what you'd like to see next in the comments. Thanks for being awesome.